Boy, how'd you like to be the last speaker? Well, we're going to be talking about using AI graphics. How many people have illustrations in their books now? All right, how many people might like to have illustrations in their books? All right, I want to start with how do you get a graphic today? You go to your search engine, you type something in, and you see what somebody else has done, and you try to see, well, is this kind of close to what I'm looking for or not, right? Let me completely blow your mind. AI is like having your own personal genie. You say, what in the world could I possibly want? And then you talk to the genie, and the genie does it. That's a paradigm shift. You're not trying to find something that's close to what you want. You're conceiving what you want, and you're making it. There was no picture of a pretty 80-year-old woman on a bench until I thought about it and made it. There was no picture of a young girl with green eyes, blonde hair, half cat, half girl, until I made it. There was no picture of a young, give me a young female Sherlock Holmes. Bang. Give me a feminized robotic face. Bang. This is way different. This is a paradigm shift, and we're going to talk about it. So we'll talk a little bit about the goals of the talk, what tool I used, what it's like to create these graphics. We're going to go through the process of casting for a book. Now that's a strange term, isn't it? I thought it meant like making a graphic. No. You have to conceptualize what this looks like. And the process for that can best be understood with a paradigm of casting an actor or casting a part for a play. And then, should you use it? And then some concluding observations. Give me a picture of a smiling gorilla. That's what it looks like. Okay, so what was the goal of my project? Was it to become a world-class AI expert? No. Was it to become a certified AI instructor? No. Was it to stumble, fumble, bumble, not do any work, don't take any classes, just get on and play around and see if I could do this for my own murder mysteries and have some fun? Yay, you got it, that's what it really was. Now what will you learn? They always do this at the beginning of a course. At the end of this course, you will be able to. So what will you be able to do at the end of today? Know everything there is to know about AI illustrating. Know how to meet all of your AI illustrating needs for the rest of your life doing nothing. What happened when a fellow WLOV member who sits at this table just like you tried to do this with no help or training? Yay, because that's what it is. Now, you go to a restaurant, right? They say, would you like a salad? Yes, I'd like a salad. Would you like, what kind of dressing? I would like some honey mustard dressing. Okay, you just asked for a salad with honey mustard dressing. What if this came back? Oh my God, that's horrible. AI will give you what you ask for, but what you ask for may not be what you want. That's a very important principle. This talk looks at not the keystrokes of the software, but what to ask for. And in this case, ask for your dressing on the side. All right, so this is an AI case study. On the tables, can you hand me that sheet? You'll see this sheet. You know how, when you come back from elementary school, they say, Frankie, what did you do with your summer vacation? This is what I did with my summer vacation. I wrote 4 murder mystery plays. I actually repurposed 2 and did 2 real ones. And I had some challenges. So why was I considering AI? How many folks have been facilitators in some of my AI plays or attended the plays? Yeah, a lot of folks. So over the last 3 years, my friends and I, because I prevail on my friends for these things, have been putting on large-scale plays in the recreation centers. They're 4-act murder mysteries. It's fun. It's like dinner theater. We recruit people out of the audience. It's a great time, and we have a good time doing it. But there were some limitations, right? It was great. It was successful. We'd sometimes get 80 to 100 people. 10 characters. Looked good. Then how did it work? Well, I would say, Robin Logan, otherwise known as Susan Dwyer, where were you at the time of the murder? And I would hand her this laminated sheet, right? And Susan would stand up and she'd read it. She'd say, I was in the restroom at the time of the murder, or something. And then, okay, then I would say, all right, well, how about you, Emery Logan? Where were you? And then Barbara would stand up, she'd read it, and that's how we progressed. Pretty simplistic. But it worked, and we had a lot of fun, and we got a lot of people. But here's the problem. Colored badges, laminated sheets. It was undocumented stage directions. I was always Inspector Lance, so I kind of had to fill in a lot of stuff that wasn't documented. And you couldn't really do anything with it. There was no residual value. So as I went to write the 4th play in the series, I said, wow, wouldn't it be something if I could actually get a product that I could copyright and sell on Amazon? It would have to have everything you needed to stage it as a party game in your home, step-by-step instructions, be reasonably priced and visually entertaining. Party game. That's different than a book. It has to be reasonably priced, and it needs to be visually entertaining. Why? Because that's what a party game looks like today. That's your competition on Amazon. I don't have anything like that. I don't have anything like that. I had laminated sheets. How the heck do you go from this to something you could sell on Amazon? So I also had a kind of a secret weapon, and that is I had this idea. I had a 4-act play script, and I could add to it the stuff that I was just saying verbally, so I could put all the stage directions in. What if I wrote a prequel in narrative, something of about 1 to 4 chapters? So this was the story of these characters before the play started, before the murder occurred. What if I did that? You could read that from start to finish in a book, and it would be like a short novella. You could also just take the 4-act play script and act it out. That's pretty good. You could invite 4 other couples over. There's 10 of you. You have a nice evening. You wrap it up in about 2 hours. It's kind of fun. But you could also make it a game. You could have voting and discussion. And you, Bill Poulin, tell me, why did you vote for that person? What were your assumptions? And you could have people arguing, which a bunch of my friends, and you'll see we did this yesterday for about 70 people at Colony, and there's a lot of discussion and a lot of who done it. So if you did that, basically then, you could execute that with 10 friends, or you could do it in front of an audience of 100 people, which I did last month at Resort Lifestyle Community, an independent living facility up on 466, basically across the street. So your people are acting it out in front of a big audience. So, okay, if this was the 2B, my graphics had to work in all 3 forms of delivery. Now, I can't even draw a cartoon. So how in the hell am I going to do that? Well, I use Bing. I don't use Google. And Bing happens to be Microsoft's project, and they're associated with OpenAI, which is the leading AI company, the founders of ChatGPT. So this is what it looks like. It's the AI image generator. If you look here, you see Microsoft Bing, Search, and Copilot. It's free. This is the model that it uses. This is what the input screen, it's washed out a little bit, but that's the input screen, ask me anything. You type in your scene or you say it verbally. And interestingly enough, what you create is unique. So what happens is you have to cite it in your work. And the way you cite it is you identify the tool that you used, and the day that you made your inquiry. Now, why do you think they would do that? I'm going to leave this up at the end, and so you can all come up and take a picture of it. I'll show you. So you'll be able to access this easily. But I want you to think about how this works. You type in, I would like you to create a picture of this. It goes over the network to the server. You get about 1 microsecond of processing. It comes back to you. So the process of the call takes a long time, but it's a microsecond for the actual processor. So you say, I'd like to change something, and you make another request. Between your 2 requests, people from all over the world have been hitting that same database. It's a large language model. So it actually is different by the time you make your second request than it was at the time of the first request. So you'll get something, but it'll answer your question as though it was the first time. At least in the version I used, which was a month ago, that's the way it was. The other thing is it evolves incredibly. So this is what I'm going to put up at the end. It'll be up here. Just come up and take a picture. And if you want to know how the software works, go there, because you've got tutorials, examples, ideas, a place to experiment a heck of a lot for free. Now, what do I ask for? And how does this thing react to me? That's what we want to talk about. So what's the experience of using an AI graphic generator? It took me about 4 or 5 passes to create this guy, but I kind of liked it. So what I asked and what I got. You, me, create a picture. In the background, a beautiful 75-year-old woman is lying on a sofa parallel to the back wall. She is ill. 2 ambulance emergency medical technicians are trying to revive her. The room is an upscale, modern-style living room. In the foreground of the picture, separate from the activity in the back, a large white ragdoll breed cat is sitting front and centered, looking directly into the camera. And Copilot says, I'll try to create that. All right, so what it does is it sends you back options. These were the options I got. And so the first thing I thought about is, this is going to be my cover image, and this is a murder mystery. These are all too cherry. Plus, some of these women look dead. I mean, look at this. They look like they're doing the last rites. And I have no idea what happened here. So this is not going to work. So make the mood a little less gloomy. Now look at the background, and that's a very different set of backgrounds. Those are not the same backgrounds. My second pass, it answered based on what it knew then. Okay, so how do these look? I kind of like this one in the top left. That's a good candidate. And then I said, hey, make me a rat on a treadmill, because this is an iterative process. Okay, here's some of the stuff that I threw out along the way. Hey, I'm sleeping here. Get off my pillow. Shock me, not shock her, not me, you ninny. What are you doing? And then, this is like a CPR mannequin. I have no idea what that is, but you're not going to put it on the front of your book. Okay, so none of these. All right, let's try again. I am Ghost Cat. I come from the beyond. Well, that's not going to work. It's too dark. And then, welcome to the autopsy of Vampire Woman. I mean, look at this. Could you imagine putting that on your book? It's hilarious. It did what I wanted. It did what I asked for, but it's terrible. Okay, you don't want that. No, so none of these. Then I said, all right, we need to make the cat more something. And this is what I got. Hey, I should have taken speed before the photo shoot. Oh, God, you're not going to put this on the internet, are you? So it's awful. It's an iterative process. You keep trying to, come on, Jeannie, get it right, get it right. So I went back to the first one. I liked it. That was my best one. Okay, so now I'm going to design a series, so I want to have a common framework. I did this on PowerPoint. And this picture is the inset. Every time I have a new book, I have a new cover graphic. So I've got a standard look and feel across the series, and I have an easy way of designing that cover graphic. So that's kind of, and you saw the process I used to get there. This is what my 4-book series looks like right now. Now, I've been a little busy, but this one, Double Down on Death, I have the proof copy. I just need to authorize it, and I'm going to do that before Thanksgiving. But this is the series. So look, I mean, it's not perfect. You can see these things don't come out exactly parallel, book to book, but you know what? It works because you're only buying one book at a time. And the book covers reflect the story. For example, we're going to do this one, Deserve to Die. I had somebody say, God, he's handsome. He looks like the Dos Equis man. Say, yeah, but look at the tags. Toxic, philanderer, addictive, cheat, selfish, cruel, irresistible. So you can tell what this is about, right? Right from the cover. And had a lot of fun. Okay, so now we're into the inside of the book. We got 10 characters that we have to cast for. Now, how do you do that? Well, you become the casting director, okay? So let's use this story. Rich, arrogant cardiac surgeon, Dr. Alex Beck, bullied, berated, and used the people around him. They all hated him. Senior Inspector Lance has to find out which one finally killed him. Oh boy, really sweet guy, right? All right, now we need to cast the characters to play the roles. Well, how do you do that? It would be like a robot painting the Mona Lisa. Select the characteristics you want. Create short, clear descriptions. Enter your specifications. Review the options you're presented with. Input refinements, and go until you get what you want. Now you know what that is because we just did that for the cover. So let's see what it looks like. When you're making the specifications, what does it mean? Well, think about this. What ethnicity and gender is your character? What's their body type? Are they mesomorph? Are they ectomorph? What are they? What's their expression? What's their clothing? What's their financial status? What's going on in the background? What's going on in the foreground? So think of the description I used to set up the cat cover. All right, let's start with Alex Beck. Now, in my play, I have handouts. One of them is a sheet called Character Profiles. Since there's 10 characters, some of them are interrelated, it helps the audience members see what the relationship is among the characters. It gives them a slight insight into their personality. So it's all on a sheet. So this is what the audience reads about the character. He's a male, he's 64, he's the deceased. He's a rich cardiac surgeon. He's the husband of Adrian Beck. He's the stepbrother of Emery Landon. He's a cold-hearted philanderer, liar, and cheat. He betrayed and used and abused everyone around him. Well, what would somebody like that look like? Well, here's what I input. Give me a 79-year-old rich man, handsome, with white hair. He's wearing a blazer with a shirt with an open collar. He's standing in a light and bright, upscale, modern living room. There he is. Now, kind of interesting. The things that you put in are the coding that AI responds to. So when these words actually cause the AI to include certain traits in the image that it produces for you. So let's look at that a little more. First, he's only 64. Why did I say I wanted a 79-year-old man? Because as I experienced this, AI tends to make the person look younger than the age you put in if you say they are handsome and rich. Oh. Because handsome rich people or beautiful rich people tend to have better grooming, they got better health, and so they come back. If you want it to be a certain age that it looks like that age to you, you have to tell it an older age. Second thing, what makes Alec Beck Alec Beck? Well, look at the head of hair. If he's handsome, he's typically got a full head of hair. The face is usually younger. Now, in my last 15, 20 years of work, I had to wear suits every single day, so I know a lot about buying men's clothes. This is about a $400 or $500 blazer. The way that lapel is notched, the way the shoulder seam works, that cut, that's about a $400 or $500 blazer. So the AI is sending you back a top-rated dress because you said he was rich and handsome. He doesn't just wear a blazer, he's got a pocket square. So this is how AI responds to what you asked for. Okay, how about Adrian Beck? Now this is his wife. She's a female. She married Alex 2 years ago. Now she's a sort of a middle-class person. She thought she hit the lottery. Here's this rich, handsome guy, and he wants me. I know he fools around a little bit, but I'm sure I'll change him. No. So she didn't learn his true nature until after they married. She had no money of her own, and now she's stuck. She has to turn a blind eye to all his philandering, and it's just terrible. He's like a horrible creature. All right, so what do we ask for? Well, give me a good-looking but not glamorous 53-year-old, rich, slightly overweight woman standing in an upscale modern living room dressed in upscale casual clothes. Now why? Because she has to look like it was the best thing in her life for Alex to marry her, you know? They weren't on equal footing. Well, this is what I got. It wasn't what I asked for. It wasn't quite what I thought I would get. Right? And I'm so like, why did that happen? Well, okay, she's certainly not slightly overweight. What happened is I got the glamorous, and it responded to glamorous as a programming instruction more than the overweight. Your words are programming instructions, and it responds with what it's been told that looks like. Now, every time you say glamorous or upscale, whether they're men or women, you're going to see high-end hair and makeup. Ladies, am I correct? You don't just get out of the pool and towel off and look like that. I mean, you got to work at it to look like that, and you don't go out. You don't go out on a windy day. High-end. Now, I did say upscale clothes. That's a designer style. That's not something that just old T-shirt you got. Now. Oh, and glamorous, supermodel thin. A couple other characteristics. Because of what I put in, she's looking right at you. So when a character is dominant, they're looking right at you, they're engaging you as a viewer. You'll see in some of these others, they're not. They're looking off to the side. And there are little clues. Now, that if you look at the face, she could be 30, but look at the hands. So when you say somebody's 50 and above, AI starts to age their hands and their neck. And so those are the little characteristics. So when you're asking, don't have them pour the salad dressing on. Put it on the side. Okay, Drew Landon. She's 48. She's married to Emery. She dislikes the way that Alex treats her husband, Emery, but she dislikes even more the fact that Emery won't stand up to him. So I say a beautiful 40-year-old woman dressed in classy, casual clothes with a background of a modern upscale living room. I use that so that I get continuity across all the characters. The backgrounds are at least similar in style. Well, this came up. I had about 6 or 8 different ones, but this character came up, and I thought, now this is not what I would have asked for. But this person actually fits the personality of the character that I wrote. Take a look. Okay, beautiful gets you high-end hair and makeup, and again, that's not something that's easy to maintain. But look at the character. Ultra thin, okay? Ultra thin, arms crossed, legs crossed. She's sort of looking at you, she's sort of smiling, but it's a real tense smile. This is a controlling character, and in the image is a controlling character image. So what I want is the characteristics to be evoked by the image. This did it for me. And that's really, you have to say, what emotions do I want this graphic to evoke in the reader that match up with the way I wrote the character? Okay, just a couple more. Robin Logan. This is an interesting character. Robin Logan's 69 years old. In the play she says, I don't care what I look like. I dress for comfort, not for looks. I care nothing about how I look in a bathing suit. And she's out walking, and it turns out Alex walks in the morning too. So he's not interested in her at all romantically, and she's just walking along with him. And he says, well, he's a braggart. So he starts talking to her about all his affairs and dirty deals that he's doing. And she's put off by it, but she says, well, his wife hasn't left him, so I guess she doesn't mind. So, and actually it's kind of interesting. It's like every day it's another soap opera, so I wonder what happened today on Today in My Lives. So, what kind of person would that look like? Well, I was thinking she'd probably be wearing like baggy gray sweatsuit or something and chopped off hair and unattractive. So I said, 69, slightly overweight, short hair, dressed in workout clothes, walking on a paved path through a wooded area. So he got a lot of choices. They weren't really interesting, but then this woman popped out. And I thought, well, now look at this person. This is a different take on that character. So how does she fit it? Low maintenance hair, no makeup, but look, she has a pleasant expression. She is wearing workout clothes, but they're very modest. It's nice, it's eye-catching. She has her chin up. This is a person who is not a chump or somebody to be walked over. She's a very independent person. That's the image that gets created by the graphic to me. It matches in fact, surpassed my thinking about the character. This should be the last one, I think. Jules Parker. He's male, he's 55. He's a friend of this younger woman by the name of Rory Schuyler. She's staying in his patio villa. He rents from Alex, so he's in a subordinate position to Alex. And, he's kind of an interesting character. So what did I want? Give me a 55-year-old balding man wearing glasses, shorts, and a t-shirt, slightly overweight and middle class, standing in front of a patio villa. I couldn't believe it. How many people have seen somebody like this? How many of us look like this? I mean, look, this guy it's like photorealism. I couldn't believe it. So, slightly overweight, he's a little more than slightly, balding, yeah, he's a little thinning on top. What makes him what he is? He's a stereotype of a couch potato. Big front porch, anti-athletic, no style clothing, unstyled hair and beard. And so, it creates a character and it very much matches the personality that I had in mind. All right, so what difference has AI made to me in doing this? The former approach was, we go to some place, could be like this, right? So we got a screen and a projector on a cart. The actors would be in a row of 10 chairs in front of this cart, okay? And I would basically be at one end with my little pack of stuff, and I would walk up and say, Susan Dwyer, where were you? And I'd hand her the chart, and she would stand up, okay? Now, she'd have a color-coded badge on, but you couldn't read it from the back of the room. So I would have a picture of a badge projected on the screen. So when Susan stood up, you'd know who she was playing. And basically, she's trying to fumble because I'm handing her the mic because they don't have 2 microphones in most of these smaller facilities. So she's fumbling the mic and the sheet. But we made it work. Okay. The paradigm changed when I could do these avatars. So I would this is what it would look like. I'd put this up on the screen. Well, if I'm over here on the side, in the dark, reading, where is your attention? It's on the screen. Now, it's not worked perfectly. I've done 2 plays like this, but for the most part, and in the first one, almost everybody was looking at the screen. You got Sue Halloran, an international storyteller, and Diane Dean, somebody who's done little theater, and they're doing the part. They were so dramatic that people were looking at them. But for the most part, people looked at the screen. I'm doing it in places that have raised stages. So the actors are sitting in chairs on the floor at the raised stage. So they're there, and you see them, but they read over at the podium. So your focus is on the avatar. The actor becomes a voice actor. It's like narrating a script as opposed to being an actor. So Sue's a real actor. Diane's a real actor. Jack Davis is just a corny guy, but he got a lot of attention. Even the way he walked across the stage, people were laughing. But for most of the time when I'm doing this, particularly if I'm doing it in an independent living facility, and the average age is like 85, they're not actors. But you know what? They can be voice actors. Particularly because in this setup, is because people aren't looking at them, they can look down at the script. They're not trying to maintain eye contact. They're not worried about their facial expression. One of the gratifying things of doing this is that it opens up a whole new possibility for the people who are the actors. Oops. Now, what else happened? Well, I have a quirk in my approach. Okay, the very first one I did, I had 10 characters, I had a set of names. I wrote the second edition, I thought, you know, if I ever want to do this, I might do it as a boxed game, so I don't want to make up a bunch of different name tags, I'll just reuse the names and give them different characteristics. Well, 4 plays later, this is Robin Logan in Deserve to Die, this is Robin Logan in Death by Cat, and this is Robin Logan in Death of a Socialite. And in some of my other ones, you know, everything is different. Their gender preference, everything. It's unbelievable. So this becomes fun. The people who've read more than one of these say, I wonder who Emery Landon's going to be next time. Also, something that it did for me was I was able to create graphics of scenes. So now instead of just Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, I have Act 1, Scene 2. That is my representation of an emergency public meeting at the Riverbend Rec Center. Is it the Riverbend Center? No, I have no way of getting 100 people in a room, but I could kind of simulate something. There's a, you know, you're not allowed to use corporate names. So this is not Shooter's World. This is Shooter's Universe. So this guy is Rory Logan. He's the, Rory Schuyler, he is the manager of Shooter's Universe Range and Gun Store, which is part of the plot. They made that up. AI created that background. It's not a photo, but it could very well be. And this, well, I needed to have a meeting at the Wildwood Police Headquarters where they call everybody in at the end. This was of about 5 or 6 different choices. This was my choice. So now, as I have a scene, I can divide an act up into scenes, and I can create a sense of presence, something I wasn't able to do. So it's getting more depth. The shift was profound, you know, changed the way the audience perceived the story, changed the role of the actors, addressed my quirk, allowed me to define different scenes and settings, allowed me to play in a whole new arena. In fact, I say, it allowed me to innovate and compete to win. I never miss up a chance to market. When Jamie was here, I said, Jamie, have you ever seen anything like this? She said, no. I said, do you think this is a good price? She said, yes. Always getting competitive data. All right, should you use AI graphics? Jack, was this the nun that you used to work with? Just like her, it's a real likeness. Those of us who went to elementary school and were taught by nuns never forget it. So you could say, I'm against this. Look, it takes away work from human illustrators. That's a realistic concern. Plus, you say it's free. It's not free. Every time I generate an image, they get to keep it. They're not paying me for what I've created. It just gets rolled into the large language model. It's true. If I do this, it's going to be more expensive to produce my books because I'm going to want to do it in color. That's true too. Will publishers accept your product? So before I started doing this, I would upload to KDP and there's this line, did you use AI graphics? So after I did, I said, oh, I guess I better tell the truth. So I said, yes. You know what happened? It opened up a survey. If you did use them, how did you use them? Did you use them unedited? Did you use a lot of them? Did you just use a few of them? So it's like, well, they're not telling me I can't do it. It's not cheating. They're just asking me what I did. Then finally, there are people who simply hate the thought of more computer intrusion into our lives. So resist, resist, resist. But It could be angelic. When I was in high school, I bet like many of you, I had a wind-up Timex watch, right? You know, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. This watch has a telephone line, GPS, can do an electrocardiogram, can connect to data from anywhere in the world, texts, sends emails. Would you go back to the Timex? I mean, it has its place, but would you go back to the Timex? For most of us, if you're willing to, use what's free, you could spend more, but you don't need to. So essentially, if you're willing to put in the time and effort, it's essentially free. And it does add a new dimension to your work. That's why I showed you the difference before and after, and how profoundly it affected the play. So I asked AI, give me the ascent of man or the ascent of humankind from Cro-Magnon man up into the future, and this is the civilization and the complexity as it goes. I think that in past evolutionary shifts from analog to digital, those shifts have prevailed. Once you understand the capability of the new system, it's hard to go back. And, would you really go back to using a mechanical typewriter and whiteout to write your books? I mean, it's almost inconceivable, all right? Would you rely on public phone booths versus your smartphone? When was the last time you saw a public phone booth? Yeah. Would you give up modern air conditioning? The Florida we know today is very different than the Florida of the 40s and the 50s. So I think AI graphics are likely the future. So I'm going to leave this up. And I won't take it down, right away. Come on up and take a picture. If you're interested, you can do it. I did. I'm just a guy who sits at the table. See ya. Bye-bye.